Apex Online Racing is sponsored by Elgato, who created this lovely Stream Deck. For more information about the Stream Deck, the link is in the description below.
G'day ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the third round of the AOR High Energy Xbox One Oceania F1 League. We're here in China at the Shanghai International Circuit for today's Grand Prix. This track has the longest straight seen on the F1 calendar, over 1 kilometer long, and it also features two corners with over 270 degrees of rotation, both extremely difficult corners to master and very, very difficult on the tyres. This circuit was the scene of Michael Schumacher's final Formula 1 victory back in 2006, arguably the greatest driver this sport has ever seen. The tightest corner on this track also happens to be right at the end of the 1 kilometer long straight, creating an amazing overtaking opportunity, especially with the aid of DRS. Expect to see some action down here and some interesting tactics down the straight. Do you want the inside, the outside? Are you just going to park it in the middle? How about go for the switchback, the dive bomb? How late do you want to move defensively? Big split-second decisions awaiting the drivers in tonight's race. This circuit was built back in 2004 on reclaimed marshland and was designed by Hermann Tilke, like most modern circuits have been. They have tried to retain some of its former life as a swamp with the paddock and hospitality area surrounded by water. The three components of tyres available today are the white-walled medium tyres, the yellow softs, and then jumping past the supers, we actually have the purple ultra soft tyres with us this weekend, 2 steps softer than the softs, and I have a feeling that those ultras won't last long around this track, and I'll be surprised if we actually do see them out on track tonight. The AOR pole record here is a 1:31.3 set by Fabrizio Donoso. However, that record could be set to fall tonight, as this is the first AOR race at China on the new game. And finally, here is the 5.4 kilometer or 3.4 mile Shanghai International Circuit. The key overtaking points are up into the ever-tightening turn 1, the tricky downhill braking zone at turn 6, and of course at the end of the longest straight in Formula 1 at the hairpin. Now, CRG Evo will take you for a lap of the track. My name is Fitcho, and commentating alongside me for tonight's Chinese Grand Prix is Alex, and qualifying has just gotten underway. There's about 12.5 minutes remaining. A lot of drivers have already hit the track and got their banker laps in, and right now Team Marduk is sitting at the top of that timing pylon with a 1:30.4, which is already quicker than the pole record which was set on last year's game. So that record has already fallen in the very opening stages of qualifying. And one thing about this brand new game is the track rubbering in throughout qualifying is a big aspect. Track evolution is a big deal. So towards the end of the session, I think times are going to get even quicker, quite possibly. But it looks like the two Haas's are there in second place. And I'm just looking, everyone so far has actually been on the ultra soft tire, which is not what I was expecting coming into this qualifying session. From talking to some of the drivers before this race, the ideal strategy they're saying is to start on the soft tire and then go onto the mediums, make it a one-stop race, because the ultra softs just don't have the tire life in this Grand Prix. They fall off the cliff after about 4 laps and you're forced onto a 2-stop strategy, and it's just not as quick around this circuit apparently. So seeing the drivers out in ultras is interesting, but maybe they're just setting bankers, not pushing all that hard and saving those soft tires until later in this session and saving them for the race. I guess we're just gonna have to wait and see.
Most definitely. We had a few incidents just currently before we coming on air. It looks like HO56, I don't know how to say his name. It's my first time on his training stream, so I do apologise. He had some sort of spin. He stayed out though, isn't pit yet. He came off around the turn 1, turn 2 area, so his tyres are pretty much done for, but for some reason I think he's going for a much faster lap than he is, so best of luck to him on the ultra softs right now. That is Ben, currently the fastest by about 6/10, which is pretty unusual for Ben, to be fair, for him to be leading something. I feel quite mean for that one, indeed. But yeah, so we've got quite a few flurry of times coming in right now. Most people coming in for the 131s, 132s, but we've got about 10 seconds left of this short qualifying session. NZL Ryan, President Cosby, DRC just setting the time, actually coming to P9 with a 133.267. Here we go. IHO56 coming into the pits. We've got President Cosby, Master Berserk, DLG Gamble, and Reese not setting a time as of yet.
To be fair to Ben, he is actually one of the quickest drivers in this league, but he just hasn't necessarily had the best of luck throughout some of the Grand Prix, or he hasn't had the best race pace, and things just haven't already worked out ideally for him. But he is currently sitting top quite comfortably at the moment, as I'm starting to see some drivers head out on the soft tyres in this sort of middle part of this qualifying session. It's a bit strange. A lot of drivers have gone out and set bankers, and now they want to wait till right at the end of the session. We just get to end up with this bit of a lull for quite a while in the middle here. It's one of the things that's a shame that I've moved it to an 18-minute session here for a short qualifying session online. I think it was much better when it was 12 on last year's game. It was a bit more shorter, concise, a bit more action-packed, more cars on track. Every lap mattered a little bit more. It's a shame they have moved that, but we'll have to make do with what it is, and we still have 9 minutes remaining. And just going back to HO spin that did happen just before we got the stream going properly, still during the intro. It was up into turn number 1. I did talk about this in the intro. It was a very difficult corner. It's ever tightening, almost 270 degrees if I do remember correctly. And you're on the brakes, slowing into a very tight turn 2 there after coming in where you pretty much hit the brakes at the same time as you do turn in. And if you just get slightly wrong, it's so easy to just get a bit of understeer in the car, get a bit offline, a bit in the marbles, and the car just wants to keep pulling you wider and wider and wider, and you just can't quite get it back into the apex. You just end up out on the grass, and it's so easy to spin, something that I am definitely guilty of a lot when I do come to this circuit, a corner I definitely do struggle with.
Oh, most definitely. I think everyone struggles with it. It's one of the most challenging complex in Formula 1. Even with myself, even though I admit I do use assists, it's just such a challenge to get it just perfect. You know, especially if you've got someone overtaking you. And actually, we do have a spin, speaking of which, coming down as a Williams of someone. I'm just going to quickly flick through to see who that was.
Fens,
thank you. Oh, there we go. I went completely the wrong way. What a shame. But yeah, he looks like he's struggling right now. So I think that's his ultra softs done for, actually. He's probably going to have to set a new set of tyres on. But yeah, most definitely, it's such a tricky complex. 1, 2, and 3. You know, getting ever more tighter, getting ever more slower. Especially if you've got someone overtaking you on the inside or the outside as well. You are absolutely holding on for dear life. As Ben actually goes even faster. He's now into the 1:29.9s. So I don't think anyone can touch him as of yet. But we've still got about 7 to 8 minutes left of this session. Maybe we do get some sort of challenge to Ben's reign here in China.
Speaking of challenging corners here, you're talking about 1, 2, and 3. You've also got turns 12 and 13, which is almost a copy of turns 1 and 2, but just flip the other way. You start slow, and it just keeps opening up as you come out onto the back straight. And it can be very, very difficult coming out of there. How much power? It's almost borderline flat out from memory, especially in qualifying trim. I'm sure it will be. But it's a very difficult corner. Getting the line right and trying not to wear the tires too much through there. It's definitely a corner. If you're a bit more cautious through there, you get the line right, you don't wash too wide or hold it in too narrow, you'll definitely gain an advantage with the tires. But looking at the times here in the session, you are saying Tim Marduk goes even quicker. The first driver down into the 1:29s, and again, that is a brand new AOR pole record, as it was previously in the 1:31s on the F1 2017 game. But he's on the ultra soft tires, and from talking to drivers before this Grand Prix, they said they wanted to be qualifying on the soft tires so they could go for the one-stop strategy, and that meant if they absolutely nailed a lap, they'll be looking at a mid to low 1:30. So Tim Marduk setting a 1:29. That says to me he is committing to ultra softs and a two-stop strategy in this race.
Oh yeah, best of luck for those of you doing the two-stop, because you know it's such a you've really got to think quite strategically in China. You know, tire wear can be quite painful on your race completely. So I think you either risk it for the ultra soft like Ben has, but if you got the pace with the ultra softs on the qualifying, you'll probably have it in the pace and can justify a two-stop. But it seems like most people are being forced into the ultra softs, and that could mean some people actually get the strategy that's not exactly right for them and do, just kind of just slowly fall down in the race and fully don't get what they're expecting for and not getting the results they aim for, which it could be an absolute shame, but that's racing for you. So
yeah, it's going to be interesting. It'll be interesting to see how it does actually play out, who goes for which strategy. I think one thing that Ben could be doing by going with the ultra softs, trying to get pole position, is protect his car and protect himself going up into turn number 1. A fast right-hander into turn 1 in the middle of the pack. It can get a bit hairy through there, let's say. Very, very easy, more so than a lot of first corners, for there to be contact through there, big crashes, front wing damage, and that's something we've seen Ben have issues with before, getting damage early on in the Grand Prix, and that affecting his whole race, ruining his whole race at turn number 1. So maybe he's decided, I don't want to go with the one-stop, I want to get myself out of the pack, I want to get myself right at the front of the field, and I'll go for the two-stop. I'll take the penalty of that extra pit stop in the hope of having a nice, proper fixed car in healthy condition, I should say, throughout the entire Grand Prix and not risk any damage early on. But I guess that is also reliant on him getting a good launch off the line. If someone from second or third gets a good jump, better jump than him, I guess that plan could be out the window. But again, ultra soft tires, it'll get him up the front of the grid, more grip off the start, and should get a better launch as well.
Oh, most definitely. We all remember Australia round 1 this season where Ben absolutely got, I think was it lap 1 or lap 2 where he got absolutely taken out. Lap 1. But yeah, it's just such a shame because he is a fast driver, but he's just had some unlucky stages right now. The incident obviously in Australia. So yeah, you talk about him sending it out from the front. No one is touching him at all. Like, we got some drivers coming in on the ultra softs, and they're not just putting any laps. We've had no laps yet, other than Ben's hitting in the 130s, and we've got 4 minutes left this session. Some people are really going to have to come out and think, how we're going to do it. Like Roscoe right now, we're on board with Roscoe. He's on the softs. He's currently sitting in P2, so he's probably going to try and aim for that one low 30s, high 130s, and try. Oh, sorry, he's in a Haas. I do apologise. And he is definitely going to try and go for the one stop from second. So Ben, he's got some very difficult strategy choices right now. Does he go out again on the softs? Probably not. From personal experience, he's probably thinking, as you say, I want to protect myself in this lead. I don't want anyone crashing into me or dive bombing me. Because, as he says, if he probably didn't have that incident in Australia, maybe he could be leading the championship right now. I'm not too sure, but he's a quick driver. Let's hope he doesn't get any altercations, and let's hope he can fully go for the win. But we do have. We do have one person out there.
He's definitely not going to go.
Sorry.
I was going to say, he's definitely not going to go out on the soft tyres of the 129.9. He's not going to be able to beat that on a soft compound tyre. I just don't think that is possible. He's 100% committed to the ultra soft strategy right now. Whereas everyone else, you're saying no one's within a second of him. And that's because I think everyone's been cautious with their banker laps, just getting out there, helping rubber in the track and get a feel for the track, but made sure that time wasn't too quick that they can't beat it on the softs when they go out on the end. Because when I flick between the best tyre, then tyre currently on the timing pylon. The majority of them go from ultras and switch to the soft tyres. They set the bankers on the ultras and they set them slow enough that they can beat them on the soft tyre, and they want to go for that one-stop strategy with the softs. But Ben, 100% committed to the two-stop strategy, and he looks likely to start on pole position if everyone else is trying to qualify on a tyre 2 steps harder.
Most definitely. So, as I was going to say, Dominator 2003-20, he is out. He's currently sitting in P10 with a 1:32.394, but most definitely he's going to drop down the pack, because we've still got 4 cars not set a time yet. Pencilman 899, he's actually starting a qualifying lap on the softs. He's currently sitting in P3 with a 1:30.325. So probably he's looking right now, because not all the cars are currently out yet. Some cars are on out laps, some cars are still in the pit. So he's probably thinking, while the track is slightly clear, he can somehow get through and set a faster lap on the softs, and again go for that one stop, because it looks like you're gonna have to counter Ben's 2-stop completely, because he just looks electric on the ultra softs. So Pencilman, he's coming out, he's flying around. We've got that laggy person, Roscoe's coming out, Tim Marduk's coming out as well, so he's probably gonna try to go even faster. I don't know how he's going to, but he's probably going to try and blitz the track completely. Still got a few cars coming out. Ryan's coming out. Master Berserk. Reese still in the pits. DLG Gamble and Neo Tree Dome still in the pits as well. So it looks like we're going to have a flurry of times coming through. We've got about 1 minute 20, 1 minute 30 left on this session.
Yeah, this is when the session does get interesting. Only a minute to go. Everyone out there on their out laps, getting ready to go for one final hot lap around the Shanghai International Circuit. The track will be at its absolute best conditions now, the most rubber put down, ready for the best, quickest possible lap times that they can put in. Now, it's going to be interesting to see the tactics, everyone trying to get their car and their tyres into the optimal window, but also position themselves so they are the last man across the line. And it looks like a few drivers aren't going out again. I think, looking at Neon Trito and the time he did go out, I'm going to keep an eye on Neon, because I think he's going to be so close to getting that lap started, and I think he might actually miss out. I didn't quite see when he went out, but it did seem very late in this session. It's only 30 seconds to go. So many cars heading down the back straight, weaving, getting ready to go. Not too sure who's going to take pole position. The majority of cars are currently got the soft tyre fitted, but we do have Tiamat Marduk, Roscoe Arm, that laggy person, Bale, Neon Treedome, and final, oh, he's in the pits, apologies, Reese, on the ultra soft tyres. So about 5 drivers going with the ultras, everyone else on the softs. This is going to be a fascinating qualifying session.
I was just on board with Pencilman 899. He went onto the softs, and he was about 2 seconds slower than his actual time. So he's gone around. I don't know if he's gone around for another faster lap, but he done a 1:33. His time's a 1:31. Bale has just set a time on the ultra softs. He's done a 1:31.5. So he's come through. DLG Gamble coming through. Neon Tree Dome coming through. And Quicksilver also coming through as well. So those are the 2 runners qualified. So it's going to be interesting to see where the people on the softs are going, because if they're following if Pencilman's trend is correct and you're not a lot faster or you're even slow on the softs, it looks like the ultra soft are the way to go.
So jumping on board with our reigning champion, New Zealand, Ryan is heading down the back straight on his one and only qualifying lap. He has not set a time right now. It is all down to this very lap. He goes a little bit deep into the hairpin, I do believe, a little bit of a lockup, and he locked up into turn number 11. Is now 1 corner left. What is the reigning champion going to be able to do in that Ferrari? Up to the line, the DRS flap is open. He jumps to second place, a 1:31.0, over a second behind his teammate, but he is on the soft compound tyres. So this could be a fascinating battle into tonight's Grand Prix between the 2 Ferrari teammates, but this is not over. There are more drivers on a lap. Tiamat Marduk coming up to the final corner now on a fresh set of the ultras. Can he better his 1:29.9? We're about to find out. It is across the line, and it's a 1:29.6. Another 3/10 clear at the front as Buckmaster has slotted himself into 3rd place, 1,000th behind New Zealand Ryan, as we have another ultra soft runner getting on the front row of the grid, a Haas, someone we don't usually expect to see that far up the grid. Roscoe Arm, a good qualifying performance from him, albeit 8/10 off our pole sitter. As who do we have left on a lap? I think everyone is done. That is qualifying over here in China. Tiamat Marduk does take pole position with Roscoe Arm alongside him on the front row of the grid. 2 ultra soft runners right there at the front. Then you have our first soft runner, New Zealand Ryan, in 3rd place, our reigning champion. It's going to be interesting. The fastest on the ultra soft 2-stop strategy is the Ferrari. The fastest on the 1-stop soft strategy is the other Ferrari. We're going to see the Scuderia going head-to-head in this Grand Prix. And what can Buckmaster do as well? Of course, 1,000th off New Zealand Ryan, incredibly close there on that second row of the grid. The time, oh my lord, you have Hyo another 1,000th off Buckmaster, 2,000ths of a second separating third and fifth on the grid. That is absolutely bonkers how close those three are. It's going to be interesting to see how those three do get along in the race and how their strategies do compare with our pole sitter. But quickly running through the rest of the order, we have Jared in 6th, Pencilman 7th, Warden in 8th, Bale and that Langy person both on Ultrasofts to round out the top 10. Pencilman also on the Ultrasofts, Drop Bear, President Cosby, DLJ Gamble, Fens, Master Berserk, Neon Tridome, Quicksilver, Dominator, Brock does stuff, rounding out the grid.
It looked quite interesting because if you look right at the rear of the grid, there was a flurry of soft tyres coming through, except for I think Brock does stuff on the Ultra Softs there. So it looked like, yeah, it looked like the soft was quite a slower tyre. So it looked great from LZ Ryan just to get that lap in with the softs. It looks so fast. I'm only imagining to myself how fast he would have been if he went on the Ultra Softs. But he's obviously thinking to counter that strategy. That's what you got to do to definitely try and have some sort of chance of winning this race from Ben. Quite a great lap from the Haas as well. That was electric from him. Not normally something we expect from him. I do apologise. So interesting. It's going to be quite interesting this race, strategy-wise. I'm just thinking in my head how the driver's going to go. They've got such a flurry of options they can do. So, you know, it's going to be, one, interesting to see if Ben can hold on to the win. And secondly, can anyone actually challenge him?
Yeah, strategy is the name of the game as the formation lap does get underway. Two Ultra Soft runners on the front row of the grid, and they are being chased by a big pack on the Super. So if you've just joined us for this stream, there are two different strategies at play. You have the one-stop strategy starting on the soft tire and then pitting onto the medium. Then you have the two-stop strategy, start on the ultra soft tires, but from what I have heard, they're going to die after about 4 laps, then going for 2 sets of softs, making 2 pit stops in the race. You're going to be quicker throughout the race with the softer compound tires on that strategy, but you're going to spend more time transiting the pit lane. Which is the better strategy to go for? It looks like most of the field think the one stop is the best strategy to go for, but we have Tia Marduk on pole position going for the 2-stop. It's going to be fascinating to see how this Grand Prix plays out.
Most definitely, we're on board with Ben now as we do the warm-up lap. So you can see we've got the 2 Ultra Soft runners. They're going to bomb down into turn 1. Then I think we're going to have a bit of a gap as we go through with Ryan, Buckmaster, Hyo, Jarrett, all thinking the long game ahead and trying to get on, you know, using the softs there. Then you've got a few Ultra Soft runners, and then you've got like a flurry of, once we come out the top 10, where you can choose your top, obviously. We've got some soft, we've got some people running on the mediums actually, Master Berserk and Neo Tree Dome, so quite an interesting choice from them to go on the mediums. Thinking extra long, if you can say that, extra long into the race and seeing if they could somehow go into the mediums and somehow hit the Ultra Softs at the end of it and try and hammer the fastest lap as fast as they can. But Ben, maybe is he going to go Ultra Soft then mediums or Ultra Soft soft? I would say Ultra Soft in my personal opinion, because I don't think the medium's the best tyre here. Personally, you know, I think if you go to the mediums, you're basically giving up your lap completely. And, you know, it's not the right strategy choice as well. But I'm really interested to see what happens. Very different from a European Formula 3 race for me, personally. But yeah, let's get ready. Ben's just about to come onto the grid as we finish up this formation lap. So I'll hand it over to you.
Here we go. We're getting ready to race in China. The field is just coming through the final corner now, and we're about to grid up and get tonight's Grand Prix underway. Differing strategies all through the field. It looks like Ferrari versus Ferrari. 1 2-stop on pole. 1 on the 1-stop strategy starting just behind him in 3rd place. This is going to be a fascinating race. And we also have Berserk and Neon going for the reverse of the 1-stop strategy starting on the mediums. Definitely playing the long game, and we'll keep our eye on them towards the end of the race. But it looks like everyone is now in 2 position in the final. Red Bull just stopping in their spot right now. And we are ready to race in China. The lights are coming on. Here we go. 2 lights, 3 lights, 4 lights, 5 lights. And it's lights out, and away we go. The Chinese Grand Prix is underway. A lot of wheel spin off the line from Team Marduk, and Roscoe gets the jump on him down into turn number 1. Side by side between the Haas and the Ferrari. Can Ben hold on around the outside? It's going to be difficult through turn number 2. But if he can, the inside line comes to his favor. He's still up the inside as a McLaren going off in the distance. But the Haas now on the outside of turn number 3, still side by side at the front of the field. And I think Team Marduk might have just got this as we flick right through turn number 5. Now downhill into 6. The Haas coming back up the inside. Lock up, there's contact between the leaders. Ben goes a little bit wide, but they seem to get through there unscathed. Not too sure if there was wing damage for the Haas, but Team Marduk takes lead as New Zealand. Ryan swoops up the inside of the Haas into second place.
Yeah, it looks like Roscoe really challenged there. Really got some sort of damage on his car as he goes through. Jared's trying to have a look through. He gets it. He steals P3, so I don't know if he's got some damage on board Roscoe arm, but that looked very, very bad for him indeed. He locks up, going in. He's got another car on him. He's got Fitcho coming in, and Roscoe's completely dropped out of the front pack. What a shame for him. He's got another car now coming into him. That's Warden going through onto the back straight. DRS is not available just yet, but looks like Buckmaster has just somehow got it. Maybe. Oh, it's tight between the two of them. Let's see how they go into the back straight, into the corner. Let's see how they go. Buckmaster got the inside line. He takes it. Roscoe's gone down from P2 to P6 in the matter of a lap. What a shame for the Haas driver. Is he coming in? No. So it looks like more he just lost his momentum generally and not so much damage on the car. Team Marduk set the fastest time. Not a surprise for you. But Enzo Ryan there. Best of luck to him on the softs. Roscoe trying to have another look through onto the Buckmaster into turn 1. No chance there for him. Pencilman trying to get through from Laggyman as Bale gets dropped down from Master Berserk. Dominator coming through from P17. Slightly loses it to Brock as well. But that was very, very much an interesting. We've got some yellow flags in Sector 1 and Sector 2. Looks like Bale is out the race. Probably gained some damage and some contact and is out.
Yeah, not too sure what did happen to the Renault there, but at the end of lap number 1, Team Marduk leads from his teammate. Roscoe got an amazing launch off the line right there, but then things went downhill as he tried to take the fight to Team Marduk for the lead of the race. Got pushed out a bit, maybe picked up a bit of damage, and he's fallen down through the field. And unfortunately, we do have one retirement from this Grand Prix, and we actually have a safety car here on lap number 2. The first safety car we have seen in this league so far, as DRC Jared is sitting there in 3rd place. Let's just run through the order really quickly when we do have a chance while the race is neutralized. Ho is there in 4th, Buckmaster in 5th, Roscoe starting in 2nd place. He's dropped down to 6th place. We seem to have stabilized there. He lost a lot of places on that opening lap, but he's sort of settled there in 6th place now, with Warden just in behind him. Pencilman is there in 8th place. He is also running on the ultra soft tires. Same with that laggy person. Berserk is up a fair few places. Let me see, he is already up 5 places. Ooh, okay, this is interesting. Doesn't surprise me, because I did hear that these ultras are only going to last about 4 laps, so this gives him a decent opportunity to get a stop done without losing too much time, but he is going to lose a lot of track position right to the back of the trains. We also have a few other cars in the pit lane. We'll just see who those are. Roscoe Arm has come in, so I'd say he does have a little bit of damage. I'll see if the Haas crew do go and change his front wing, along with, looks like the McLaren of Pencilman and that laggy person in the pits, and are stacking at Haas.
I don't think Roscoe will get any damage. I just see him coming through. Nothing in terms of change the front wing at all, unless he just said to them, I don't want any change at all. Probably some slight damage on there. Where is Ben? Ben is in P15. I did think to myself, would Ben come through, go onto the Ultra Soft straight away? It looks like everyone has followed Ben's lead if they're on the Ultra Soft. We've only got a flurry of, basically everyone's on a soft tyre except for Neo Tree Dome and Master Berserk. So, are we expecting a Verstappen-like approach from Ben? He's going to sift through the grid. He's got 2 lap fresher tyres on the softs, and don't forget he can nurse them now behind the safety car.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how this does play out for Team Marduk. Seems like we have a little bit of a technical issue here, but I'll just talk over that static. Not too sure how this is going to play out for Team Marduk. He's lost a lot of track position down to 15th place on a fresh set of soft tyres, whereas everyone else has got the 2 laps from the start of this Grand Prix and say about 3 laps from qualifying, an out lap, a push lap, and then an in lap. So that's 5 laps fresher tyres in this race, and he should be able to hopefully go on to another set of softs. That is the strategy I did here before this Grand Prix, but it doesn't surprise me. Ultra soft runners into the pit lane. This is a good opportunity for them to get rid of those ultra soft tyres. They're only going to last about 4 laps to my knowledge, so that doesn't surprise me. I'm not too sure how Alex is going there with his technical issues, but I'll just keep talking for a second, and hopefully he'll butt in when it does get resolved. We're still sitting here behind the safety car. This is caused by the Renault of Bale retiring from the Grand Prix on the opening lap, or the second lap of the race, I should say. I didn't, unfortunately, see the incident. Unfortunately, we don't have the benefit of replay to go back and see that. So we're coming through to the end of lap number 3, still under safety car, and I've just looked over, we have over 400 people watching it right now, and that is absolutely crazy. Thank you for every single one of you coming out and supporting the stream. Everyone back at AOR very much does appreciate your support, and we hope you guys are enjoying the live stream and the race, although it is a little bit slow right now as we do trundle around behind the safety car. And is Alex got his mic fixed? I'm still hearing static, so I'm going to take that as a no right now. So, how is this race going to play out? If you did miss the qualifying session, it was super tight right at the front of the field. There was only 2,000 separating, and it was New Zealand Ryan, Greek Master, and I'm trying to remember who it was in third. I think it was Fitcho there. Very, very close. They were the 3 quickest on the soft tyre, and they are currently in first, third, and fourth on the road. And you have Jared in there in second place. How is Jared going to go in this race? We're going to have to wait and see. He does definitely have the 1-lap pace we've seen through the first 2 races of the season, but he hasn't been that good throughout the whole length of a Grand Prix. He hasn't managed to keep his tyres in the right range and keep them working in his favour, especially compared to the likes of New Zealand Ryan. Is he going to be able to hold on to the back of that Ferrari, or are those same issues going to come to the fore and he's going to drop back through the field? I guess to wait and see. But in this lap, we're about to find out, as the leader is about to cross that line, and safety car is coming in this lap, so we are getting ready to go back to racing any minute now here in China. The lights are off the Mercedes, and he is disappearing down the road, and now New Zealand Ryan is in control of the field, backing everyone up to a pace of his liking, and at some stage very soon he's going to put the hammer down and go for it, but he can't accelerate and back off. Once he goes, he must commit to it and go properly, and everyone behind him has to wait for his cue, and everyone weaving down the back straight, trying to get temperature I should say, back into those soft tyres. And I think we have our other commentator back, technical issues sorted.
Yep, yeah, the USB port fell completely back from my mic, so in time with the safety car I return. It's great to see 400 people watching my technical issues live. So here we go, we're gonna get ready. Ryan is about to launch everybody off, and let's see how Ben can do, especially. Looks like we're coming around the final corner. DRS is now enabled, and there we go, we're back racing. I'm going to go on board with Ben super quickly to see if he can pull a move.
Oh, there's a Mercedes off in the background. I apologize to cut you off there. Drop there off in the background, as Jared was lining up a move on Ryan, but he wasn't quite close enough up into turn number 1. As yellow flags further back in the pack, I assume that's still for that spun Mercedes. Ryan got a bit beached up on the curb, I do believe, possibly a bit of wheel spin out of the last corner. He got a good initial jump, but he stuffed up the final corner, and that gave Jared an opportunity, but Jared could not capitalize there. Of course, no DRS on the safety car restart, and it's very, very close at the front of the field. Very even across that restart between the top 5 drivers.
Yeah, I do apologize, did not catch that spinning Mercedes there, but he's got damage. You see he's missing the end plate of his left front wing there. He's completely at the back, and he goes wide completely. He's missing a lot of downforce, so he's definitely going to come into the pits. He's on 4 laps old soft, so is he going to go for an alternate strategy? He's got 23 laps left. Is he going to go for a mediums or maybe another set of softs? He could even go for the ultra softs, but I don't see why he would. You're at the back of the race, risk it. Go for an outlander strategy, because now, you know, you've got nothing to lose for if you're completely at the back. Ben still hasn't done a move onto Tree Dome yet, but he's extremely close to him about a TF. He does pull it off though. I do apologise for missing it. Down the just before the back straight. So has he got DRS? He doesn't have DRS on that move either, but Neo Tree Dome is going to have a look as they both go into the end, and Roscoe's going to have a look as well. Let's see how they go. Is it full wide, and Ben's got contact? Oh my god, he somehow survives it, but Neo Tree Dome can slightly T-bone Ben there, but Ben's still in the lead and keeping hold of about 4 or 5 cars behind him. What a shame. It looked like Ben's race was completely over, and we got a red...
Oh, blocks off! Oh, he's coming!
Oh, no!
Oh
my God!
Ferrari, he's flipping! Ben is out of the Grand Prix. Brock Does Stuff is out of the Grand Prix. Neon Freedom is out of the Grand Prix.
Oh my God!
Absolute chaos. I'm not too sure. I think there was contact between the two Toro Rossos. Brock went spearing across the track right into the path of the Ferrari. I'm watching that back on the stream right now, and that was a huge crash. Ben was so unlucky there. He tried everything he could to avoid contact, but he just got caught up, and that is the pole sitter out of this Grand Prix. We were talking so much about watching the strategy, how it plays out, but now Ben is no longer a factor in this Grand Prix as there is carnage across the pit straight. A Toro Rosso, a Red Bull, and a Ferrari all off on the pit straight, and that doesn't cause a safety car, yet the lap 2 incident did. That is absolutely crazy, and now it looks like we don't have anyone else going for an alternate strategy in this Grand Prix. We just need to keep our eyes on the front where the battle is still very close. Jared just hanging in there within DRS range to the race leader, New Zealand Ryan, with HO just half a second back, and we should be about to get DRS back on the next lap.
The thing I don't understand is why the safety car isn't out. I just came on. Drop Bear is now at the back. He completely went for the... I'm not surprised he went for the pits. He saw what happened ahead of him and thought, you know what, I'm missing that. I'm going for the pits. But there's debris on the track. There's clear debris on the track. So I don't understand why safety car isn't out. Let's see how Ryan's come through it all. Let's see what is there. There's a bit of carbon fibre on the grass and by the pit straight. But oh my God, my heart goes out to Ben. I feel so bad for him because we just saw that Toro Rosso spin, and I'm sitting there and I'm going to myself, no, and then oh my God, you had a flying Red Bull there. It reminded me completely of the first lap of Spa. Was it 97? Was it? Where all the cars just kind of congregated in that start, even though it's not raining, but all the cars just congregated and just kind of just went. Oh, my heart goes out to him. He was going so well. He was on a great strategy. You know, I thought he could definitely come back and fight for the win, but it looks like Ryan has most likely got the win secured. He's got a second between him and Jared there, so I think he's going to, you know, slow down the race, control it to how he likes it, and then come in, sort out his strategy, and then from there, completely, yeah, lead the race from there. We do it for yellow flag in sector 1. I don't know if someone has caught some of the debris there. I feel like that is going to be a slight issue within the game because that debris is right on that white line of the pit and the...
I'm sorry to cut you off. We have Buckmaster going up the inside of HO down the back straight. A move for a podium place. Is the Williams going to be able to do this through the hairpin? He pushes the Red Bull off the circuit and he just squeezes by up into third place. I apologize to cut you off there. We're going to move for the podium, a bit of action down the straight. We did talk about that earlier on in the Grand Prix, but now the Red Bull of HO has the DRS, the slipstream of the Williams. He's looking to the outside, trying to dart back to the inside, but there's just nothing doing there up into turn number 1, and Warden in the Force India is licking his lips behind this battle, ready to pounce when they do come unstuck.
It's fine for free. I didn't even notice what was going on, but you saw that when we came through towards turn 1, you could see that debris there, slightly on the white line, so I don't think any cars will go there, but it's an issue if a car does go there. You know, it's definitely going to cause a few punctures, but yeah, why no safety car? I'm very confused to why that's not going on. A close battle here for both P3 between Buckmaster and HO, both on a similar strategy, both the same tyre life, so I feel like someone's going to have to do the undercut and try and secure that third podium space. Ryan there has added another lap onto his time, so he's now got a 2-second gap between him and Jared. They're about to go on the back straight now. You've got Buckmaster about 6 tenths away from Jared, HO only 5 tenths away, so it looks like we're going to have such a fast run down into the hairpin. Who's going to have DRS and keep on? Warden as well. Is he going to have DRS? He's going to have DRS to HO. Master Berserk's not going to have a look anyway.
Greek's going past Jared. He gets the move done before the braking zone, easy as you like with DRS, but he goes deep into the corner and possibly contact from Jared. 2 cars off the circuit and HO is pocketed from this. He's gained up the inside of the pair of them, and Warden is now on the outside of Greek into the final corner, trying to switch back under him. Chaos here for this his last 2 podium positions as Ryan skips off down the road. It is all kicking off here. Williams and Force India side by side up into turn number 1, but Buckmaster has the ideal line, just tracking, but always looking up the inside of the Mercedes into turn 2 as it tightens, but he's not going to launch it up the inside, just tracking back for a second. The Williams of Greek got a great run with the DRS, got past him, pulled back in front of Jared, and then he's going to the outside as they flick through turn number 5 down to turn number 6. Can the Williams do this around the outside of turn number 6? The Mercedes up the inside gives him a little bit of a helping hand off the circuit, and there goes Warden past the Williams. So in the space of about 7 corners, Greek has gone from second place back to, or challenging for second place I should say, all the way back to 5th, and now the other Williams of Fens looks fairly close in behind Master Berserk. Sorry, I'm just getting a bit confused. Williams and Force Indians together all across the track, and Ho has actually darted up the road a little bit. He's trying to follow Ryan and get away from this battle, as it looks like this is going to continue with the Mercedes of Jared Warden and Greek Master about to come onto the back straight.
Most definitely there. We see we've got a few yellow flags in Sector 2. I think that's for Dominator. He's dropped down the grid slightly. Master Berserk there. He's going to have to hold off Fens to someone. Can Fens get any DRS? He can. Master Berserk though, he's got DRS on Greek Master. Let's see how Warden goes on Jared. He's out dragging him as they go into turn 14. He's got the overtake. Nicely done, doing the move just before the corner, braking ever so early and making sure we don't have a repeat of what just happened the lap before. It looks like a bit of a train happening now. Greek Master sitting there holding his time back, but that leaves the gap between him and Master Berserk dwindling down ever so slightly. Don't forget that was 2 seconds at one point. It's now 0.7 of a second. So Greek Master has to think, is he going to come for the undercut and strategize it and try and get underneath everyone and try and set a faster lap? Or is he going to try to push and try and reclaim his spot in P3? Because there's only a matter of a second between him and Warden in P3, and then he's got a comfortable lead up ahead so he can storm off. So let's see what Greek Master can do. I feel like the best idea for him to do is to go on the undercut. Dominator there, he is out of the race. We've got some yellow flags in Sector 3. I don't know what's happened to him. So we've now got 5 cars out of the race.
I think he's just had enough. He was caught up with Brock. I believe from what I've heard, it was a lag collision down the straight, which caused all that carnage, which took Tim Marduk, Neon Trinum, and Brock out of this Grand Prix. But going back to this battle at the front, it has been absolutely epic, the fight between Ho, Warden, Jared, and Greek Master. Possibly Berserk and Fens about to get in on this, but the biggest winners have to be New Zealand Ryan and Ho. Through this fighting, the pair of them have gotten away and got a bit of a gap in 1st and 2nd place respectively. But here comes Greek Master, I should say, on DRC Jared in the slipstream. Jared goes defensive. The Williams to the outside. A bit of a lockup from the pair of them. The Williams tries to switch back underneath him, but a little bit of contact between the pair of them. Hopefully, his wing does stay in one piece, but he can't get that move done. He has to slot back in behind through the last corner. Now he gets another crack at it. The DRS flap is open yet again, and this time the Mercedes doesn't get it from the Force India up ahead. Now the Williams looking to the outside into turn number 1. Can he do this right around the outside? Greek Master to the outside through the ever-tightening turn number 1 into turn number 2. And now he's just going to get run out of road as we head down the hill into turn number 3. He has to slot in back behind that Mercedes and continue to stare at the gearbox.
Very surprised he hasn't got any damage on his front wing there. Just looking at the front of Greek Master, his front wing looks completely intact. I thought he lost an end plate there of some sort. But now we're on lap 11 of 28, coming quite close now to the halfway stage, about 40%, 45% there. And again, still surprised that no one has come in for the undercut. You got the top 10 all on the same tyre life there. Master Berserk is the only outlier there. He's on 10 laps on the mediums. I feel like someone has to come in and go for the undercut out of the selection and just try and gamble it and see what you can do, you know, in this, you know, and try and get the best strategy for yourself. We're coming along now through turn 13 for DRS. Let's see how close they are. Fens got no one behind him. DLG Gamble about 2 seconds back as Fens gets some DRS of some sort. Master Berserk's all lining up now. Greek Master looking on the inside of Jared. He's got the move slightly done, but Jared's going quite heavily on the inside. Goes over the apex saying, I am not moving at all. But Greek Master's got the traction, but not as good traction as Jared. Jared's coming through as they go through turn 16. But Greek Master's got the move already done because Jared is into the pits.
We also have Warden in the pits as well. Warden pitting out of 3rd place. Jared out of that battle over fourth into the pit lane, along with the Williams of Fency. We were talking about when are these guys going to pit, when are they going to pull the trigger, come into the pit lane, get rid of these old softs, go for an undercut with a fresh set of the medium tyres. And it looks like lap number 12 is the magic lap. They pulled the trigger, they're into the pit lane, and it's going to be interesting to see, are they going to be able to get their heads down, put in some fast start laps and not fight too much, or are they going to continue their battle even on these brand new tyres and possibly hurt their whole agenda by pitting a lap or two earlier? And also on the strategy, we briefly touched on it. Master Berserk is on the reverse strategy of everyone. He's on the mediums. He's going to be going to the softs at the end of this Grand Prix, and he's already up there in this battle over a podium place on the harder compound tyre. He is definitely someone to watch in this Grand Prix. Well, it looks like Ryan and HO, we mentioned them earlier, really getting away, benefiting from the huge battle over third. They are now 5 seconds apart up the road and 5 seconds away from third place.
I feel like now Ryan and HO, Greekmaster and Master Berserk have to respond to that change of the strategy, change that undercut and completely come into the pits now, or I think their positions are jeopardised. Ryan has got the gap, he's got that 5-second gap to see if he can gamble here, go for the overcut, but let's see what he's doing. He's coming to the pits now, Ryan into the pits, it's Aicho coming into the pits as well. Let's see, he looks like he is coming into the pits, responding to that undercut. Greekmaster, is he coming into the pits? He is as well. It's Master Berserk. Master Berserk is staying out, that's due to him being on the mediums, get that slightly longer tyre life. But Aicho coming in, Greekmaster's in, DLG Gamble's coming in as well, so it looks like Master Berserk is staying out there on the mediums and probably going to go and stay out for about a lap or two more than everybody else.
Yeah, a lot of drivers in the pit lane now. Ryan and HO should rejoin in a net first and second place, but we'll keep our eyes on the Williams of Greekmaster, of course, in that huge battle. How much has the undercut favoured Jared and his teammate as they're exiting the pit lane right now? I'm trying to see where the other guys are. I can't really see with the camera angle I do have, but it looks like he's dropped in behind Jared and a little bit up the road from his teammate Fens, and he's also behind Warden, who also pitted in that battle. So interesting to see how this does play out now. Slightly fresher tyres for Greekmaster, but I think one lap is going to be negligible effect there. Only 1 lap difference, and now the battle is back on. However, the pit stop phase has extended those gaps ever so slightly.
I think what this highlighted is that undercut completely worked well for Jared and Warden. You know, there's a 2-second gap between him and Greekmaster. You know, they completely got the strategy perfect. Greekmaster now, yes, he does have the fresher tyres, but can he account for that loss in time for not doing the undercut with everybody else? I don't think he can. If he could, that would be great, but I feel like it's going to be a bit of a challenge now. But I think now when we come to the end of the race, let's see how they go, let's see what strategy they do. Maybe they throw on a set of ultra softs, I don't know, let's think of something crazy of what could happen. Maybe a set of ultra softs coming on and see what they can do completely. But I think the gap between Jared, Greekmaster and Warden is just too big for Greekmaster to make any drastic improvement in his position.
I think the man to watch right now is actually the current race leader, Master Berserk. Of course, he has not stopped just yet as Warden picks up his first time penalty, at least his first that I've seen of this Grand Prix. That is something that unfortunately we do have to watch throughout this race. How much are the drivers abusing track limits? How many penalties are they picking up? It's not something we'd like to see. It's not something we'd like to see affect the race results, but it is a necessary evil there in the race to make sure the drivers are keeping everything fair in terms of the track limit. But going back to what I was saying, Master Berserk is the driver I think we do need to watch in this Grand Prix. He has a 10-second advantage over New Zealand Ryan, but he's on the medium tyres, the compound he started on, and in a few laps time he's going to be pitting, going onto a set of the softs, and he's going to have the tyre advantage both in tyre life and on a softer compound than all the drivers in front of him. He's going to be able to make his way up through the field and really find podium. He was on the back of that podium fight just before everyone came in for the first round of pit stops, so it's going to be interesting to see what that Force India can do. But it looks like New Zealand Ryan is in a very comfortable spot in this Grand Prix. Jared couldn't quite hold on to the back of him at the safety early on in this Grand Prix after the safety car, and then a huge battle did erupt, and HO managed to pick his way through that battle as everyone tripped over each other, and he got a bit of a gap out from that battle, and he's sitting in a comfortable net second place. But that battle for the final podium position is what we're keeping our eyes on. Warden currently sits in that position. Jared only 2 seconds behind him. Greekmaster a further 2 seconds back, and then the other Williams a further 2 seconds back beyond that. fairly even gaps there, but it could all change throughout this Grand Prix. It's going to be interesting to keep our eyes on that. And then, of course, throw a wild card on a softer compound tyre, Master Berserk in there, and see what happens as the race, or not the net race leader, I should say, New Zealand Ryan sets the fastest lap of the Grand Prix as Ho then takes it across the line as Jared having a big moment. Out of the final corner, I just see in the back of shots, Greek Master takes the fastest lap of the Grand Prix. It's been about 2 or 3 laps since they've all pitted, and it seems like those mediums are just now getting switched on.
Most definitely. So I'm sitting there thinking to myself, where is Master Berserk coming now? Because Ryan is closing that gap down. Don't forget, it's about late to high 10 seconds. Now it's to low 9 seconds, 9.1 now. So I think Master Berserk definitely has to come in now, get onto the softs. Otherwise, I feel like his position in the race is jeopardized. Ryan is electric. He is so fast in mediums now. They're switched on. So is Ho, so is everybody else. And Master Berserk mediums are probably sitting there crying to have a break, because I feel like the wear on them is just so high. He's probably sitting there floating about in his car because he's basically got no grip. So I feel like he's going to have to come into this lap, or his race is ruined. His race is jeopardized. So he's got about, now it's an 8.5, 8.4 Ryan. Ryan is absolutely gaining time on Master Berserk. So let's see where Master Berserk is. He's just about on turn 14 and 15. Let's see if he does come into the pits, because in my honest opinion, he has to. I think he is coming into the... No, he's not coming into the pits. He's staying out, so that's another 16 laps,
I reckon.
Another 2 laps. Yeah, I can see that.
I've just been doing the maths. Everyone that was on the soft tyre that's gone to the mediums, they pitted lap 12. That means they're doing 17 laps on the medium down to the end of the Grand Prix. Berserk starting on the mediums, he'll do the 17 laps first, he'll pit, then do 12 laps on the softs, because the tyre life should be pretty much the same through both ends of the Grand Prix. I get what you're saying about he's losing time now, and he needs to pit to make sure he retains that track position, but if he pits too early, he's going to hit the cliff at the end of the race. He could even suffer from a puncture, depending if that's how high the tyre wear is, and he's just going to have to brave it out, lose a bit of time now, and make sure he gets to a lap where he can make it to the end of this Grand Prix, because he's definitely going to have a pace advantage in the back end of this race.
Yeah, completely. I'm doing the maths myself, and I'm just looking at the rear end of the grid drop there, and Laggy, Person, and Pencilman, they probably are looking like their tyres will not make that 17 lap cutoff. So it looks like they're going to come in for another pit stop if they can, and get onto the Ultra Softs most likely, because I feel like they're going to be about 4 laps early, or 4 laps just slightly under that target for the thing. We've got a donation of £5 from WR Blazer Gun, so thank you very much. It's great to see so many people in the chat. We've had some unfortunate incidents with Ben, for example, but we've got some F1 Esport Pro Draft drivers in the chat as well, I believe. So that's great to see the support from the community. That's absolutely brilliant to make sure everyone's watching. So thank you all for watching. It's just great for all of us to share, watching this brilliant race and just sharing, the overall passion for F1 as Master Berserk does come into the pits. He's on lap 16 now, so he's going to come in, and let's see where he comes out compared to where Ryan and all the rest. So I feel like he's going to come out P6, P7 now. Ryan coming past now, taking the lead from Master Berserk. But let's see how he goes.
I expect him to come out probably in behind Fens in 7th place. He has a lot of time to these other guys undercut. But you got to remember he's going to have a tyre advantage, as there goes Fens coming down the straight past the pit exit, and now Master Berserk switches off the limiter and gets back on the pound. So I was correct. Possibly the McLaren not quite close enough to challenge him up into turn 1. He's a little bit further back. But now we need to keep our eyes on that Force India. Fresh soft tyres, about 5 laps fresher than everyone else in front of him's medium tyres are obviously a step harder. So he's definitely going to have a pace advantage, and he was able to keep up with everyone while he was on the mediums and they were on the softs in the opening phase of this Grand Prix, I should say. So he definitely has the pace, he has the tyres on his side, but he has cars in front of him. Can he overtake? That is the question. It's going to be interesting to see how he does go picking through this field. Now, quickly looking a bit further up the field, Jared in the Mercedes has been struggling a bit to keep his car on the track there. Had a few big moments, and he has been losing time ever so slightly to Greek Master, and now it's only half a second separating the Mercedes and that Williams as we round the long turn number 12, I do believe it is, and out onto the back straight. The DRS flat is going to open in that Williams a little bit further down the straight. They do shorten the length down this straight just to nerf the DRS a little bit, but now the flat is open. He's in the slipstream of that Mercedes. Jared goes defensive. Greek to the outside. Is he going to be able to do this side by side into the braking zone? A little bit of a lockup. He doesn't try to hang it around the outside. He accepts defeat beat that time and just slots in back behind the Mercedes as Ryan takes the fastest lap of the Grand Prix. But now through the final corner, he gets another crack at it, another round of DRS down the pit straight. He's very, very close to the back of that Mercedes. He goes up the inside, not being left much space by Jared, but the Williams up the inside of Jared, and Buckmaster should be able to get that move done, but a little bit too deep. Jared coming back up the inside into turn number 2. Is he going to squeeze Greek out? Greek pushes back up the inside, pushes the Mercedes a little bit wide, and I think he's just about got that move done, but they're still going side by side. Jared is not lying down through turn number 5, now down to turn 6. The Mercedes on the outside as the Williams goes a little bit deep there and just pushes him out of the way, and he gets that move done. A very hard fought move there. Now Mercedes up the inside, turn 8. All he thought about it, the camera angle was a bit deceiving there for myself. Looked like he was going up the inside, but he was just showing his nose, trying to unsettle Buckmaster 99, who now moves himself up into 4th place, and now he sets his sights on a podium place with Warden 2.5 seconds up the road in 3rd.
Buckmaster's proved me wrong. I'm happy to say that, because his XP4, I didn't think he could push too much, but I think Jared, yeah, definitely struggling on the mediums. I don't think it's connecting with him as well as, you know, the softs were. But Buckmaster's only got 2 seconds now to Warden, so I definitely think he can push for that P3. Another interesting battle for me is for P9 and P10. Roscoe Arm, don't forget he qualified P2 for Prison Cosby. They're battling it out. I saw in turn 1 they proper just struggled round turn 1 to try and see if they could dart and move in. They're on the same lap tyres as Ryan, as Warden, so they're going to have pretty similar tyre life to each other. So it's a quite interesting battle there for P9 and P10. But for the points, Quicksilver there, P11 to P10 is about a 6-second gap there. So not much there in terms of points. It looks like President Crosby has locked himself some points unless something drastic happens or Quicksilver somehow gains that 6 seconds in the next few laps. But actually, speaking of President Crosby, he's got a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. So that lead he has for the points has now been cut by 3 seconds. So it's only about a 3.5 second gap between him and no points.
Yeah, penalties are definitely something we need to keep our eyes on during this Grand Prix. We've been looking at this battle over the podium, Warden and Buckmaster, 2 seconds separating them, but to my knowledge, Warden has a 3-second time penalty for track limits abuse, and I don't think Greek does. He might have picked one up and I missed it. We'll have to check closer to the end of this Grand Prix. But to my knowledge right now, Greek would actually jump Warden because of those penalties. We're going to have to investigate that a bit closer to the end of the race, exactly where everyone does stand on penalties. But unfortunately, that could be something that does play a factor in the end of these the race results in today's Grand Prix. But on lap number 19 of 28 is New Zealand Ryan, who continues to lead this Grand Prix. He has 5 seconds over HO, and he has a further 5 seconds over this battle for the podium places that we have been watching. Jared has started to fall a little bit of a ways back off Buckmaster. I did mention he has been struggling a little bit in this Grand Prix. Since Bolty on the mediums, he just hasn't had the race pace here, as it looks like it's getting quite close between Master Berserk and Fens. This is a battle I mentioned to watch earlier. Keep your eyes on Berserk. He's reversed the strategy, started on mediums, now on the softs, has the tyre advantage, and now he has the DRS flap open as he's in the slipstream of the Williams down towards turn number 1, and the DRS doesn't actually look to be open on that Force India. He's not using DRS up into turn number 1. That surprised me a little bit. With his tyre advantage, I would have assumed he would be in a position to push his way past that Williams quite quickly, as he is hounding Fens there through turns 1, 2, and 3 in the slipstream. He heads to the outside through the kink at turn number 5. Now the downhill braking zone. What can the Force India do to the outside? Can he make this work? Right around the outside, Fens leaves him room, and you can just see the extra grip that he has from those fresh soft tyres, much superior to the soggy, worn mediums on the Williams, and he blasts his way past, now up into 6th place, and now he sets his eyes on Jared, who I mentioned has been struggling in this Grand Prix with his race pace. That has been a trait of Jared. He's had an amazing 1-lap pace, but throughout a race he just can't keep the pace up compared to all the other drivers on the grid. Definitely a skill he needs to work on, managing the tyres, managing the ERS, and his consistency in general to actually pull off a full Grand Prix. It's all well and good qualifying high up, but if you can't keep the pace compared to your rivals throughout the entire Grand Prix, it's not worth much.
Fens has now got DRS on the back straight onto Master Berserk. He's going to try and slipstream him, but I don't think he's going to get anything in there. He's too far back. He breaks a bit late. Master Berserk does lock up slightly, so Fens is sitting there thinking, can I have a look? But realistically thinking, Berserk is on newer and faster tyres, so I think Fens there has to sit back, focus on his race, and just try and secure P7. He's got a 7-second gap to him and DLG Gamble. Gamble's only got 2 lap fresher tyres, both have been mediums. So I don't think Fenz is going to be under-struggled by DLG Gamble completely there. But Master Berserk definitely pushing for Jared. You can see there, Jared is really struggling. He's dropping back ever so more. Greekmaster now is pushing through. He's only 8 tenths away from Warden. So I've got a feeling that the next DRS area, I do apologise, that I think Greekmaster is going to line up and overtake, and let's see what can happen. Because I feel like Greekmaster, yes, is only a lap difference in tyres, but I think Greekmaster has the pace on his side. And you were saying as well, Warden does have that penalty. I think I do remember him seeing it for 3 seconds as well. So technically, I think Greekmaster, I don't think Greekmaster has a penalty, so I think Greekmaster definitely is in P3 right now, as Pencilman, I believe, is out. We've got Yellowface in Sector 1 and Sector 3. So now we've only got 13 drivers left in this race. If you missed it, Ben, who was leading, well, wasn't leading, but he was leading the race and went for an undercut. He had a massive crash on the start-finish straight. He got hit by Spinners for Rosso, and sadly his race was over. About 4 cars got completely wiped in that procession, let's call it that. But Greekmaster there, not pushing too much into Warden, still about 8 tenths, 9 tenths out. I think he's going to have some DRS here now. Let's see how much he can push into turn 1. His DRS is only set on 3, but he's just going to try and push it. I don't think he's gaining too much time completely. No, he's not going to have a look into turn 1. I feel like he's going to sit back, wait what happens, and see if he's going to pull a move a bit later into the race.
Yeah, the DRS straight down the pit straight towards turn number 1 isn't the longest straight in the world for DRS, and he knew coming onto the straight he wouldn't be close enough to make an attack, so he didn't want to use too much of his DRS, put it up too high and waste it when he knew he wouldn't be quite close enough to make a move. And now he's just going to sit in behind that Force India, try to charge up his battery a little bit here. He's just turned it off right at this moment. What I'm talking about, charging that battery up, getting close to that Force India, getting ready for a big push for that podium as we head onto the back straight, only a few corners away from that now. Greekmaster getting ready for an attack. And just speaking about Greekmaster quickly, he is currently our championship leader. He won in Australia, he finished 2nd in Bahrain, and if he can get on the podium here in China, that is 3 podiums from 3 races. However, I think he will lose the championship lead to New Zealand Ryan, who is 6 points behind him, and he is currently leading the race. But here we go, out onto the back straight we do go. The DRS flap is going to open shortly on that Williams. Is in the slipstream of Warden. Warden darting to the inside of the track, going a little bit defensive in overtake mode on the ERS. The Williams to the outside into the hairpin. He's not quite close enough to make a big move, trying to get a bit of a switchback, get better traction, but that's going to put him on the outside for the final corner. He just slots in behind the Force India under that rear wing, goes through the final corner. Now he gets another stab at it. The DRS flap back open in the slipstream. This time he looks up the inside of Warden up into turn number 1. And it looks like he's going to be able to get this move done. Is Warden going to come back around the outside? No, Warden is just going to slot in behind Greekmaster there, and Greekmaster now up into 3rd place, and he looks set to keep his podium streak going for the 3rd race in a row.
Yep, great one by Greekmaster right there. As I was saying a bit early in the race, Quicksilver and Drop there, they had the set of very old tyres there. I was saying they're going to have to pit about 4-5 laps just before, and they have Quicksilver's going onto the Ultra Softs.
Oh yeah, Master Berserk and Jared fighting. I apologise to cut you off. Berserk fighting through the field. He tried to move at turn number 6 onto the Mercedes of Jared, but he couldn't get that done, and now he slots in back behind that Mercedes through 8, 9, and 10. He's just going to get himself prepared and go for a move down that back straight with the DRS. I apologise for cutting you off there. I just cut to them, and they were side by side as Jared runs a little bit wide through the double left-hander, and it looks like he is struggling a little bit. I have mentioned this before. He struggles in the race. Great 1-lap pace, but he just can't pull it all together in a race. And Master Berserk on an alternate strategy. He's flipped the strategy around, so he's on the soft tyre now, where he started on the medium. Everyone else now on a worn set of the medium. He's got the pace advantage. He now has the DRS. He has the slipstream. He's in overtake mode on the ERS. Jared is defending the inside line. The Force India to the outside hard on the brakes. Can he do this around the outside? Is Jared gonna play fair? He leaves in the room, and the Force India right around the outside of the hairpin. That just shows how much superior grip he has from those fresher, softer tyres.
Most definitely there, no worries there. So yeah, as I was just saying, Quicksilver and Drop Bear, I did say they wasn't going to last with their Ultra Softs, so Quicksilver's coming for the Ultra Softs. No way he's going to get into the points there, and Drop Bear there, weirdly enough, going onto the Softs. So he's all the way at the back, gone onto the Softs. Basically, yeah. So Drop Bear, he did have that incident right at the start of the race. He lost the left side of his front wing completely in an incident. I don't remember what lap it completely was. But what a shame for Drop Bear, all the back. President Crosby there, he did get a time penalty now, but that Quicksilver pit stop in there left about 20. He's now got a 26-second gap pace between the two of them, as Quicksilver sets the fastest time of the race, a 1:33.145. I'm not surprised by that, considering the tyres he's on and the much reduced weight of the end of the race. But yeah, Ryan just looks completely in control of the race. Greek Master there, he's gaining some time on HO, but I don't think he's going to do anything. Maybe he could. We've only got 4 laps left, but I think the gap is way too big. So I feel like the top 3 now are locked in. I don't feel like Master Berserk may get something on Warden, on his teammate. He's on the fresher tyres and he's on the faster tyres, so I feel like there may be a slight change between the two of them for 4th and 5th.
Yeah, I don't think this podium fight is completely over. We have 4 laps left. Berserk is on a softer, fresher compound tyre. He's only 3 seconds back off Warden, who's only 7/10 off Greek Master, and that is a fight for a podium place. What can Master Berserk do on this alternate strategies? Looking in the background, we have Fens lining up a move on Jared, who's been struggling in this race, but the Williams not quite close enough as we swoop up through turns number 1 and 2. He's just going to have to sit in behind for probably the rest of this lap. There's no real great overtaking opportunities until we get round down the big back long 1 kilometer long straight here at China with that DRS flap open, but definitely keeping our eyes on Berserk. He's reeled in about 0.3 of a second through the first 6 corners of this lap, so I don't think this podium fight is over just yet. The top 2 positions are pretty settled, with Ryan and HO very comfortably there in 1st and 2nd, but that battle for 3rd is still looking very, very tasty, as Warden is actually dropping a little bit back off Greek Master. He doesn't seem to have the race pace. The gap has actually doubled since the last time I checked. It was 7/10, now it's 1.4 seconds, so maybe Master Berserk won't be able to catch up to Greek Master if Greek is still looking fairly quick and pulling away from Warden there.
Most definitely, yeah, Master Berserk there. I thought Warden does have that time, but I don't think Master Berserk does have one, so I think Master Berserk there is a 2-second gap between him and Warden, so I think with that time penalty applied, I think Master Berserk can take P4, but I'm completely not too sure. We're going to have to wait until the end of the race there. That lucky person all the way at the back, finally coming into the pits. He's done about 16 laps on the medium. He's now coming in for the Ultra Softs, and I think he's going to battle for the fastest lap with Quicksilver as well. Might as well, considering you're all the way at the back of the grid and nothing else to do. We're on board with Fens right now as we're coming through towards turn 1. But I don't think there's anything he can do. He's got DRS open, but he's not putting too much in terms of ERS coming out. I think he's going to sit back and wait for a later stage in the race. You've only got 2-3 laps left, so I think he's going to wait there and try and pull an overtake quite late into the last stages of the race.
Yeah, only 2.5 laps to go here. I did just look through the race director as Dominator has left the session. Of course, he's already retired. Apologies. Getting distracted by the notification popping up there. And I've just seen a question in the chat about penalties. That's exactly what I was about to address. The only driver in the top 8 with a penalty is Warden. He has 1 3-second time penalty. I do believe President Cosby also had a penalty. He has Roscoe Arm right in behind him. So that could play into that battle for the last 2 points positions. But only Warden with a penalty. And as it stands, Master Berserk, his teammate, will jump him because of that penalty. If Jared can just pick up his pace ever so slightly, he might be able to get into that 3-second window and also get up into 5th place and add a bit of hurt there for Warden for his track limits abuse and make him drop 2 places. Just gonna have to wait and see. Jared's race pace hasn't been fantastic, but Fens, who's been sitting in behind him trying to attack the Mercedes, hasn't actually been able to get that close. He's been consistently within DRS, but never quite close enough to properly launch an attack at that Mercedes. Fens hasn't quite had the pace that maybe I expected in the latter phase of this Grand Prix. But speaking of pace in the latter phase of the Grand Prix, we have to look at Master Berserk on fresher, softer tyres, reeling in his teammate easily within DRS now with a 7/10 gap.
Yep, Warden seems to be some sort of struggling. He goes quite wide into turn 1 and turn 2. I feel like he's going to try and get as much grip as he can by going to the other parts of the track you don't normally expect to race. But I feel like Master Berserk right now, he's going to somehow pull an overtake of some sort. He's saving up that AOR energy. You look at the bottom right, he's on 1 currently, so he's still got some coming out, but only a little bit completely. So let's hope there's a late stage overtake by Master Berserk. I feel like he's going to do it into turn 14, last minute, throw everything you can at it, but he's not going to do it too risky, because I do think, with penalties applied, Master Berserk does have P4 in the bag.
Yeah, he does, and now Warden 3 seconds back off Buckmaster with only a lap and a half to go. Berserk's podium charge is definitely over, but I think he'll still want to get past his teammate. He's going to get 4th place regardless on penalties, but for bragging rights, do it on track. It's just a little bit more special to get that extra position, actually earning it on track. Because we have 2 battles as we head down the back straight. We have Force India on Force India, Berserk in the slipstream of Warden, going very defensive, almost on the grass, driving down the white line, and Berserk eases past him up into 4th place. Now Fens in the slipstream of Jared, half a second back, but not quick enough. We were mentioning that earlier. He's been consistently within DRS, but never close enough to actually launch an attack, as we are now starting the final lap of this Grand Prix. Will Fens finally be able to get past Jared, or is he going to have to settle for 7th place? We're going to have to wait and find out.
I feel like Fens has to wait on he has a lot going in. He's currently on hot lap stage of his ERS, but I feel like he's going to have to save as much as he can, and on that final sector, give it all he can to overtake Fens. Literally save them tyres a little bit more, hold back on the ERS on the other stages, and just save a bit of fuel now as we go through these tight sections where you can go and lean. As you can see that he brakes so late, he's all over the gearbox, Jared, but he just can't pull a move off completely. I feel like he's going to do something risky, late brake into it, push Jared wide. My best guess, go inside of turn 14, brake late, push him wide into 15, and try and hold on. This is the last lap. You have to throw yourself in there to get them points.
Yeah, we're going to keep our eye on that battle, but looking quickly at the lead, New Zealand Ryan only has 2 corners to navigate left in this Grand Prix, but we'll come back and address the race leader in a moment, because there's only 0.3 of a second separating Fens and Jared. Over 6 places, onto the back straight they go. The DRS flap is going to open any second in the rear wing of the Williams in the slipstream. He's going to be forced to the outside, it looks like, by Jared, who darts to the inside. The Williams to the outside, down into the braking zone at the final corner. Yellow flags are out somewhere in the last sector, and Fens cannot make that move stick, but New Zealand Ryan has won the Chinese Grand Prix. Ho comes home in 2nd place, and Buckmaster 99 continues his perfect podium run with a 3rd place here in China. Berserk comes home in 4th. Warden drops to 7th with his penalties. Jared and Fens both jumpy, and big pain there for Warden right at the end. He must have gotten a bit of a fight maybe with Berserk to lose that much time, and it looks like now we look back to Gamble, who now crosses the line for 8th place. President Cosby in 10th, and Roscoe Arm in 9th, I should say. Penalties mixing up the order to what they did cross line, as Quicksilver has retired on the last lap of the Grand Prix.
Sorry to interrupt, but it looks like
person has crossed across the line. Across the line, I should say.
We're looking now. I feel like they've hit quite close to each other across the line. Both cars very close to each other, and it looks like that laggy person went completely wide into that last corner. You can see that left wheel has gone. I feel like he's spun up them rear tyres, and he's somehow taking Quicksilver with him. So that means they will be I think they will be classified in the race, but they'll be plumb last. So what a race. 9 crashes. So, pardon me, actually 8 crashes in this race around China. I would not expect that today, but great race by NZR Ryan. I feel like, you know, if Ben was here, we could have had such a more dominant display, just somehow of a fight out front. But yeah, he controlled the race. Ho there as well, making sure he stayed in P2. Great strategy by them. They responded to the undercuts well. They went on to mediums and secured themselves P1 and P2. So well done to both of them.
I think carnage is the best word to describe tonight's Grand Prix. Absolute chaos, crashes right through the field. Bit of carnage, not what we wanted to see. We had Brock, who had a lag collision, I believe, with his teammate Dominator, which ended him up spinning across the pit straight. And then Tim Marduk, who pitted on the safety car early in the Grand Prix, caused by another crash that we did miss down the back of the pack. He just got caught up in it, and another Red Bull, I believe, was also and it can't be Ho who's on the podium. The other Red Bull is Neon Tridome, who got caught up in that incident. It seems like we're having a bit of technical difficulties with a bit of static. While trying to talk up and talk over that, as New Zealand Ryan has won here in China. That is 2 wins in a row for our reigning champion, and I believe he does now take the lead of the championship. Ho joins him on the podium with Greek Master 99 there in 3rd place. Master Berserk making an alternate strategy work after starting 15th place, makes his way all the way up into 4th place, and he definitely deserves my Driver of the Day award, I do believe, with DRC Jared there in 5th place, Fens in 6th, Warden dropping down to 7th place with a time penalty that really hurt him late in the Grand Prix. DLG Gamble, Roscoe Arm, and President Cosby round out the top 10. And then we're Drop Bear in 11th place. Quicksilver, who crashed on the last lap of the Grand Prix. That laggy person who did get lapped and crashed across the line. Not too sure what did happen there. He is classified in 13th. Then our list of DNFs. Pencilman, Dominator, Tiamat Marduk, Neon Tridome, Brock Does Stuff, and Bale. A lot of carnage in tonight's Grand Prix, but who would you give your Driver of the Day to? I'm just hearing static, so I would say he can't reply to me right now. And unfortunately, we have had a few technical issues throughout this stream. Things might not have been as they normally are for the stream. Unfortunately, with very late notice, our normal streamer Jess and my normal co-commentator Matt were unable to make it tonight, so we had to put in some quick provisions to get this stream up for you guys. And we did have Alex come in very late notice, stream and commentate for us tonight, so a big thank you to him. I hope that he set it all up right. The levels have been alright. It might have been a bit different. I did see a couple comments, maybe my audio was a little bit loud. Unfortunately, we didn't have any time to properly test it and set things up, but I hope you guys did enjoy it nonetheless. And that brings us to the end of tonight's AOR Oceania F1 League. I'm just forgetting the name of the league. It's such a mouthful. I have to write it down for every intro of these streams. But that brings us to the end of tonight's stream. If you guys have enjoyed this race, make sure you do like the stream. Of course, subscribe to the Apex Online Racing channel. There's so many more of these streams. You've got all the European races coming up later tonight if you are in Europe, or in the early hours of the morning if you are an Australian like me in this part of the world. And then, of course, the brand new Americas League even later after that, which is at night, I believe, in the US, which is morning here in Australia and very, very early morning in the UK. Make sure you do subscribe. Of course, you can watch the streams back at a later date. They are live streams, but you don't have to watch them live. So make sure you do go check out all the other Apex Online Racing content, not just on F1 2018. And if you have enjoyed my commentary and Alex's commentary, links to our personal channels and Twitters and whatnot will be down in the description below if you do want to support us. But that's going to do it for today, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll catch you later.